who's as adamant about his or her position as I am about mine, whom you think is sharp. Seriously, we know that. And another thing, we heard him say that... Hey, sports fans, I'm Larry Elder, and welcome to another edition of And Another Thing. This is edition number 57 of And Another Thing. And if you'd like to be an Eldorado, go to LarryElder.com, fill out the form, become an Eldorado. You're going to get a free copy of Michael and Me. Michael and Me is a feature-length documentary that I produced, wrote, and directed, where I confront Michael Moore, the esteemed director, and I ask him 3 times how many Americans are in fact alive because they were able to get a firearm and defend themselves. And 3 times he refused to answer the question. But you have to find out how he exactly answered by getting the DVD, Michael and Me. So go to LarryElder.com, fill out the form. Now for number 57 of And Another Thing. This edition is about the Republican Party and the youth vote. As you know, I am a registered Republican. Now before you turn, let me explain that. For a long time, I was in California, what's called a declined state, meaning that I'm an independent. The problem with that is during the primaries, you can vote in the Republican primary, which is the primary that I wanted to vote in because I wanted to try and influence the debate. So I switched to becoming a Republican for that reason, and another reason is I was thinking about running for office against a barber boxer. Ultimately, Carly Fiorina became the Republican candidate. I'm laughing because I literally went to Washington, D.C., met a bunch of Republican senators. I was going to do the deal, but they got behind the Republican candidate, Carly Fiorina, rather than myself for the primary. I still could have run. I still would like to think I could have survived and won the primary. But if the Republican Party wasn't going to get behind me in a very tough year in which it was to raise money, to hell with it. That was my attitude. In any case, here's the problem with the Republican Party and the youth vote. In 2008, the youth vote went to Barack Obama by something like 66%. A little bit down the last time around in 2012, it went about 60% for President Obama. But overwhelmingly, young people are voting for the Democratic Party. Why? One thing is youth is empathetic. Youth feels sorry for people. And if the Republican Party has done anything, it has, for one reason or another, gotten an image of not caring. And the Democratic Party, if it's done anything, has gotten an image of empathy, of caring. The Democrats are perceived as wearing the white hat in the battle for social justice, and Republicans are perceived as wearing the black hat in the battle for social justice. So that's the problem. And when you're young, you're far more likely to feel rather than to think things through. What's that old line? If you're under 30 and you're not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're over 30 and you're still a liberal, you have no head. That's kind of the way things go. You get older, you develop responsibilities. You get married, you have children, you're concerned about schools, you're concerned about safety. Often you get to become a little bit more Republican. But the youth vote is a real problem for the Republican Party. The other problem with it is true that the polls show overwhelmingly people care about the economy. You hear that line, I think it came out of the Clinton campaign, 1992, it's the economy stupid. It is still the economy stupid. However, the social issues do resonate, especially with young people. And just as people on the left scratch their heads when they see polls showing that overwhelmingly Americans want what is called universal background checks, yet it can't get through the House-led Congress. There's a funnier issue to me with the so-called image that was on a recent government website that has come to be known as Pajama Boy. Somebody was sitting in a onesie, drinking out of a cup of hot chocolate. Young man, looked like he's in his 20s, early 20s maybe, talking about why it's important to talk about Obamacare. And a lot of people criticize that, meaning that young people are trying to get you to enroll in Obamacare because it is morally the appropriate thing to do. It is the warm and fuzzy thing to do. So it became kind of a very funny kind of thing. I think they've since taken it down. I hope you enjoyed this small excerpt. If you want to see the full video, got to be an Eldorado. Go to my website, LarryElder.com, log in, fill out the form. It'll cost you about $4.75 a month, or about the price of a mocha frappuccino latte at your favorite coffee house. As you can tell, I don't like coffee. I'm a tea drinker. See you next time.